In the first trimester project, My Family's Oral History, the ISTE Standards for Teachers, Part 2, Design and Develop Digital Learning Experiences and Assessment, Part A, says design or adapt relevant learning experiences that incorporate digital tools and resources to promote student learning and creativity. So as we go into the lesson plan, and we'll scroll down to the assessment section, and it says students will apply the steps for recording an oral history through using the provided resources. They will listen and take notes on the 5 podcasts on the process. And then we have these links, and we'll go in and see that the Minnesota Historical Society has provided podcasts for the students to listen to. We can click on this and hear part of it. They're short. This is 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Becca.
And I'm Joe.
I'm Jenny.
And I'm Monica. And we are here to tell you why we do oral histories.
I've been doing oral histories for 6 years as part of the National History Day program. I can tell you that these experiences bring people together in many ways. In addition,
So this is one of the podcasts that the students will view, and they will also go into collections up close immigrant oral histories. This is again from the Minnesota Historic Society. And at the Historic Society,
Since 1948, the Minnesota Historical Society has used oral history as a means of recording important parts of our state's past that may not be available in any other form. Oral history is especially useful in documenting the experiences of recent immigrants to Minnesota, who often arrive with few possessions, especially if they've fled civil war or strife. Without the letters, diaries, photographs, and objects the Historical Society traditionally collects, interviews may be the best way to document the lives and views of immigrants and refugees.
so this is a helpful podcast or video for students to watch to explain the importance of this project and how it adds to the knowledge bank of history going on here in the state at the very moment these kids are in school. So they're in this assessment area. There's also a toolkit. Now this resource has a step-by-step guide for doing an oral history, and this narrative and guide that will help the students go through this whole process. This is just one of the resources students can use. And because students are all different and some may prefer this format, that's available to them. But we scroll down further and we see that there is a scholastic resource that students can use. This is the assessment in the scholastic resource that a teacher can use when scoring their students' product. So each of these items, and then they can give it a score and then print up the students' results. And then there is this link, and this is the assessment rubric. And there is the teacher's guide for the teacher. So I have ideas on how to do this project, what it's about, what the components are, how to spread the days out. There's the mini lesson, the pre-writing, time, the draft time. So we have 1 day, 3 to 4 days, 2 to 3 days, revising 2 to 3 days, editing 1 to 2 days, reviewing 1 to 2 days, and then the publishing. Then there's the national standards that correlate to this unit are also listed. So this is also an excellent part of the resource for the teacher, is knowing how this lesson plan also is fulfilling the English standards the National Council of Teachers have written. So in this history lesson, the students read a wide range of print and non-print texts. Students apply a wide range of strategies to comprehend, interpret, and evaluate and appreciate texts. Students adjust their use of spoken, written, and visual language, communicate effectively in a variety of audiences and for different purposes. In this particular audience is going to be a global audience, as they will be able to take their oral history that they've written and publish it. So here are the technology foundation standards for students. The students will use technology tools to enhance learning and increase productivity and promote creativity. In this particular lesson, they can use their word processor. They might use a video camera or audio recording device with a microphone to record this oral history. There are the possibility of doing sound editing, video editing, depending on the student's skills with technology and the resources available from the school. So there are all the technology standards listed, and then the lesson plan suggestions are laid out here for the teacher along with links. So this is a very helpful resource for the teacher, having the teacher activity guide. And we go back in here and we have the resources with the hot links. This one is about becoming Minnesotan, stories of recent immigrants. And here the students can actually go into the interviews and listen to some of them. Here's collections of up-close oral histories. And they can hear stories narrated by different people who have come to Minnesota. So we can click on this lady and hear part of her interview. Oh, let's see. Oh, this is one that has to be bought, but here's an image of the interview, and students can look at that. Some of the interviews might not have a charge, but in that particular case, that one does. Here's another web quest that deals with immigration, industrialization, teachers, and this particular web quest has interview an immigrant. So if the student's parents are first generation immigrants, this might be a good resource for them to use to plan for their interview. And this has all the different steps and activities that go along with this particular web quest that students can use. And then this is, I guess I clicked on that one. Let's see, do oral history, and this is the step-by-step guide. And then the teacher's scholastic one, which we've seen. And that starts with the pre-writing. And then there are recommended